We did a course with EVOC, which is our emergency vehicle operation course. Just learning what a car can do, because we're in a car 75 to 90% of the time.
You learn a lot about what the vehicles can and can't do, to a point that you feel like you might roll it or flip it, but it's going to stay pretty stable.
We're going 50 to 70 miles per hour, going around curves, finding blind spots, and it's uncomfortable if you're not used to it. And so it's showing what you can be comfortable with. Whether it's braking, skidding, being able to go 360. If you can't control your vehicle, you're not really controlling your actions.
The arson investigation practical application was brand new this class. Hopefully that's nothing I'll ever have to work through, but it was interesting to see it because it was so different. You know it's a practical application, so nobody's actually in danger, but that's still such a heavy subject that it kind of spins you around a little bit on how to work through it.
We started off talking with the fire inspector, Officer Moore, and he kind of just walked us through that there was a victim over there, said it was in the house, and she has more to say.
Just right off the bat, are you all right? Do you need EMS to come check you out?
We contacted our victim, and my partner, I know, kind of got stuck and was kind of like, what do I do?
I completely shut down. Like, I couldn't remember to ask any type of questions. I looked towards my partner, and she completely did an amazing job. She took over. She was able to hey, okay, she gathered information, what I couldn't do at the time.
I was able to talk to her, realize that her ex-boyfriend sent a text, I think it was like a few minutes earlier before the fire, saying it's gonna get hot in there, which is obviously sus. And
we verified it, made sure that the phone had those text messages. We asked a description of how her ex-boyfriend looks. We made contact with him.
He was already sitting out on the porch and had burn marks all over his arms, and his knuckles looked like he had punched something.
In plain view, we saw Molotov cocktails. If we can prove that he's the one that committed that arson, we've got 3 or 4 pretty serious charges right there.
How you doing, sir?
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Doing good, how are you, sir?
Good.
He admitted to sending the text, talking to his ex. I arrested him, and he started giving me trouble, and the cuffs did not want to go on. With him fighting, and it wasn't just a staged cuffing with a DT partner, it was actually having to doing it on someone who was resisting.
Could you have arrested me there?
I could have arrested you, but I wanted to get more information. I wanted to build that relationship.
You have enough evidence to arrest the guy, and it's just about how you approach the situation. We went with a little bit of a longer route, my partner and I, because we kind of wanted more information out of him before the arrest.
We kind of got stuck in this idea that we needed to prove the case, bring it to the prosecutor already stamped, ready to go, when we could have made the arrest on a probable cause much sooner.
You don't have to go as deep all the time. Sometimes it's just a simple, you're under arrest, and that's about it. We got you under arrest for having a legal.
One of the big mistakes that we made, there were text messages that she had apparently received from him, but we didn't ask to see them to verify that they had actually been sent. In hindsight, should have gotten those to make sure that her claim was legitimate.
That was a cool scenario to do, to figure out the big picture. It wasn't just arson alone, it was something bigger. They had to piece it together.
We had never done anything like that. It was a full-blown investigation. We contacted the victim, and at first it was just like a suspicious fire, not realizing it was going to lead into a full investigation of talking to a suspect, arresting a suspect, searching a house.
I think the cool part about that was when you're asking these questions and you're getting to that dead end, then you got to revisit and refocus on, okay, what do I need to find out? What puzzle piece am I missing to figure out the bigger picture of this investigation?
You can learn about that in class so many different times in different ways, but until you go through it and just work through it on your own, it's impossible to kind of gauge how you're going to react there. Even halfway through it, I wasn't sure what to do next or how I would react to it. I know how to work through it. I know what to do next and what's expected of me, but I don't know how I'd react to it. So it was really fun to see that one.
I think we did good. I think we did good.
Always look for that angle. Look for that small little sweet spot that you can find where you can see the bad guy, but they can't see you.
Building searches is probably the most fun of everything. When we're not being shot at, it's fun.
For a while with one hand in the gun,
Recruits will search buildings. They will go to open doors on houses where the wind blew it open, the person left the garage door open, and the recruits, due to the exigency of the circumstance, have to go in and search it. Most of your searches are very low stress, but they still need to be done safely, not pointing guns at the back of people.
Point to where you're pointing it. Do you think that's a good idea to point that right there? Probably not, all right?
That's how we crawl at the beginning of it, and it culminates with afternoon searches where we actually add live simunition fire into things and make the recruits breathe heavy, hopefully make the right choices even under stress.
We learn how to cut a pie. It's like going in an angle where you can make sure you're not exposing your body to an open room. We are partnered up with about 4 people in our group. The primary in the front, we have 2 more people to the side, and then we have somebody in our back checking the rear.
They kind of teach you everything from how to stand, how to formate yourself, whether the lead person's up front, you have 2 sides and 1 in the back watching the rear, how to stack up on the door before you actually cross the threshold of the door, and then how to kind of manipulate your body in a way to keep yourself exposed as little as possible. Before you even go into a room, you can get 90% clear and only have to go in and worry about the corners because you know everything else is clear.
The biggest thing we learned that day was that whenever you do anything, since you're in a group and there's a high stress situation, you verbalize stuff so your other officers know what you're doing. If you see an open door, just yell it out, open door. Just make sure you communicate and everybody's in the same page.
Doing building searches, they're not ideal. You don't know the layout, what's in there, who's supposed to be in there. Doing them here at the academy was fun because we knew we weren't going to get hurt, but they had sim guns. So if you cut the corner and expose too much of your body, they're going to shoot you with a sim gun. So it was the funness of making sure you did it correct, because on the streets you don't get a second chance. Like you mess up, it's done.
Okay. Building searches are the best part of patrol. Okay. None of us ever wished we get to do that. I hope I never have to. Seeing the way the world is now, unfortunately, at least one person in this class is going to at some point for the worst possible reasons. So it's fun to learn something so dynamic and so largely important and get to hear different instructors' takes on it and how they would necessarily do it if they were the ones performing that.
I've been an officer for over 28 years now, and I've done a lot, I've seen a lot, and so my goal here in my mind is to take all my experience and my knowledge that I have and try and pass them on to the new kids that are coming up. Make sure that they're as safe as possible, and make sure that they get home every night.
Building searches is also important because if someone is in a burglary attempt and I have to go in the house, we have to be able to search everything, every part of that room, to make sure we can find that bad guy. If you don't find that bad guy and you're like, hey, the house is clear, you don't want that family going back into that house and like, hey, this guy's still here and something could potentially happen.
You know, you're kicking in doors, you're running in, guns blazing like you would see in the movies. So it is fun, but it is very important to be stuck to your fundamentals because you're going into doors where there's people behind them or there's nobody behind them, but you have to treat it as if there might be a threat. So you never know, but you have to be able to scan properly and work through it.
Yeah, it's fun to learn the really big things that are going to save a life, whether that be yours or somebody else's.
Oh, OC, worst day of the academy by far.
OC stands for oleoresin capsicum, more commonly known as pepper spray to a lot of people.
5 burpees.
They have to realize that they can fight through that pain and still accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
Did not enjoy that at all. My face felt like it was burning, like lava splashed on my face.